You ever suffer psychological problems? Sure you have. Fears, worries, things you would rather not think about, but find your mind helplessly and repetitively focused upon, repetitive thoughts and emotions, which can bring your life to complete despair. So many of us bark completely up the wrong tree when confronted by such undesirable, inner, automatically arising, emotional and psychological frames of mind. We take drugs, prescribed to us by doctors, who are generally people suffering the same way, to a greater or lesser degree, and who have no understanding at all of what the causes of such psychological problems may be. Depression is not an imbalance of chemicals in the brain. To suggest such is nothing other than insanity, hogwash, a guess at best, and a total misleading away from the true problem. And thinking you have solved such an important problem by accepting the insanity of another is unlikely to have any positive effect on the problem. Taking drugs may bring some lessening of psychological anxiety to my life, so would drinking 2 bottles of vodka every day, or taking to heroin. Neither, unfortunately, ever truly solves the problem. And pharmaceutical drugs come with a whole host of other problems, which millions of us have found to the detriment of the quality of our lives. So, if escaping from our psychological undesired and unrequested states of mind is no answer to such a life-destroying problem, then what is? Have you ever asked such a fundamental question to yourself, not a doctor? If you ask a doctor, you will forever be lost. The answer lies in the understanding of the problem. The answer is in the understanding of what is taking place within the inner realm of inner symbols, words and emotions, within the memory cells of the brain's activity, human consciousness. Where the problem lies, the answer will be found, not anywhere else. And a problem understood is a problem resolved, and so a problem no more. Let's take a journey together inwardly into our shared psychological, societally constructed inner thinking minds. Depression, a fear, an anxiety, a worry, a life problem, a division, a memory. All of these have ability to upset one's present moment state of mind. People who suffer depression and psychosis, or a neurosis, or recurring anxieties are people who have repetitively arising images and words within their mind which they have no understanding of, and their lives are being dreadfully limited by inner movements which bring a form of paralysis, and the result can be absolute psychological terror, and no effective treatment exists. Pharmaceuticals here are a joke. It is worth noticing that a duality is taking place in such a mind. There are words, images, fears, anxieties, problems, all represented conceptually within the mind. And there is an observer to all of these. There is an inner you, or me, as you like to say, a societally conditioned thinker of thoughts, an observer, an I, a division to the observed, which is human consciousness, a watcher of what is seen, an experiencer of this inner conceptual world, the controller of the mind, that which seeks to bring the mind to order. Have you noticed such a divisive mechanism inwardly? There are schools of thought in this world completely barking up the wrong tree, as so many of our societal authorities ever are, which affirm that the only bona fide approach to life is to change one's pattern thinking, to think positively, as if an entity exists which could choose what to think. This view, which is one of societal control, misses the mark entirely and is as pointless and impotent to the resolution of our inner psychological conceptual problems as taking a psychiatric drug, and perhaps even more dangerous. Thinking positively assumes from the outset a division between an inner thinker and his or her daily moment-by-moment inner thought projections, the continual movement of continuous words and images within a never-ending, always-present movement of inner words and images. Thinking positively assumes from the outset a division between an inner thinker and daily moment-by-moment inner thoughts, the stream of our inner thinking automatic human consciousness. Does such a division even exist? No one seems to have asked this question. How many of us believe such claptrap and spend our days and nights in pointless wastage of psychological energy, attempting to control that which has never been divided? Is it not a strange phenomenon that the inner nature of our minds can be a difficult place to live within? Is it not a strange phenomenon that we hold no true understanding of this central ground of our lives? This inner conceptual area is the activity from which our every life action is born. This is the very ground of our life, our being, our existence. And for so many of us, this inner ground is something we seek to escape from through the use of alcohol, drugs, entertainments. There are as many routes of escape available to us as there are inner psychological maladies. Of course, this very possibility, this inner conflict, these undesired movements of consciousness may only arise within a mind which has no fundamental understanding of the totality of itself. What we understand totally holds no problematic potential over our lives. Our schooling involves itself in programming our inner psychological framework. We are educated deeply concerning what to think, but none of us have been educated how to think. And herein may lie a clue as to why we encounter so many difficulties in our inner and outer, eternally conflicted lives. How do we understand any problem that our lives may be unencumbered by that problem? Must we not investigate the problem? If my car engine is not working well, I must investigate to discover the source of the issue. Once found, the problem may be eradicated. In the very same way, inwardly, psychologically, if my mind is not functioning well, I must investigate the malfunction within. I cannot make anything better or bring back to a whole state a broken mind, a divided mind, in any other manner. The answer to every life problem will be found within the problem itself, if we can find clear enough vision to look at the problem without any distortion. And herein may lie our greatest of difficulties. We are too eager to find an answer. We seek a solution, and a mind seeking an answer has no eyes available to objectively come into close living contact with the problem. When I am ever seeking a destination, a solution, I have no eyes to see the journey or to engage in an unencumbered investigation. So my first question must be this: can I see the absolute necessity that the only chance I have to revolutionize my inner psychological state, and so my life, and so my relationships with all other people, which is the beginning of a new society our world so desperately needs to see, lies in the absolute holistic understanding of what I call my mind, the visible moment-by-moment incessant activity I have come to call my thinking. And I must look at that which I seek to understand, meaning I cannot run away, I cannot suppress, I cannot visit a doctor or participate in taking prescribed psychoactive drugs. All of these activities are entirely missing the mark. I need clear vision of my inner nature, and when I patiently watch to the point of clarity, I may come to see the entirety of the working of my inner psychological nature. And if I can do so, the problem has been solved. Seeing the entirety of a problem is to see the solution to the problem. Seeing the entirety of anything is holistic vision and complete understanding, and this complete understanding will act holistically, without divisions, and so without any potential for conflict. Our brains have divided inwardly. This has been the result of living traditionally within inner divisions and being educated to always finding the ground of our being in knowledge, which is memory, which is the past. We have been educated so wrongly. If a peaceful life of understanding and creative living is what we desire, we are dumbed down by our education, conformed to accept the view of an authority, which divides us even further in life. I have my authority, and you have yours. We have been educated to live in such divisions, which is to live in conflict, tribally, inwardly and outwardly. Outwardly, our divisions are easy to see, as easy as the destruction they bring to our lives. Nations, religions, beliefs, ideologies, politics, wealth, social class and societal standing. Our whole society is built on measurement, low to high, which is a movement responsible for the continual historical destruction of our people. We war against that which we have divided from, and we are divided on every level of our being. We solve this issue for once and for all only in the absolute and complete understanding of our inward psychological nature, which is root to all divisions within and between us. Let us look together inwardly. Let us take a hypothetical situation of a depressed person, a person perhaps experiencing repetitive psychological inward activity disturbing to life. Perhaps you can relate to such a hypothetical circumstance. There are two energies involved here. Do you see this? You need to see this for yourself, for this to have any effect in your life. Accepting words is pointless and will not change your life in any way at all. The investigation and the understanding must be yours. Another may point. You must travel down the road pointed towards to verify the truth or falseness of what is being asserted. Accepting another's understanding or insistences is to live under the authority of another and to open one's life to manipulation and corruption, and our society encourages such madness. Society does not seek free human beings. It seeks compliant slaves. It seeks people who will do the bidding of an overbearing authority without question, and so many of us do so. There are two conflicted energies within the mind of anyone experiencing a conflicted inward psychological state. Conflict always demands the number 2 as a minimum. Conflict demands a division. You cannot be conflicted unless a mind is divided. Division is the necessary required initial state to go to war, inwardly or outwardly. The inner division, which brings so much suffering to our lives and which keeps pharmaceutical firms happily dispensing manufactured solutions to a problem, which offer no solution at all, offering only an escape, an addiction, other difficulties, is the inner division between thinker and thought. We have all been deeply educated to see our inner pattern behavior in this way, that you are a thinker, a permanent entity, and this permanent entity is responsible for this inner movement of words and images inside our psychological world. But is this true? Can you find out? Can you watch this inner divided area and come to an understanding of this issue? Not through my insistence, not through the acceptance of the words of a book or a doctor or a learned authority. Can you come to see this issue for yourself? And so come to your very own first-hand understanding of your own life. This is the activity which has potential to change your life. When you see first-handedly for yourself what you are, when you see anything this way, you stand on the ground of your own holistic intelligence, derived from your own first-hand vision. Nothing beats this. Life becomes simple when you begin to understand yourself for yourself. Following another in any area of life is psychological slavery and a denial of your own life responsibility. To live your life in the shadow of another's understanding, another's insistences, is not to live your life at all. It is to exist in servitude to another. Question and allow your questioning to lead you to your own vision, and your vision will be the guide of what is true and false in your life. And this is the only understanding ever needed. No assertions or beliefs or guides or authority is necessary here. No books, no films, no TV, no scientist, leader, politician or CEO. No organizations. These are all self-interested and so manipulative and so creating further conflict in our world. All of these are barriers to your own first-hand understanding and so barriers to the arising of your very own self-found intelligence. The thinker is the thought. The energy is the same. Thought creates a thinker. This is a scholastically programmed entity, a division within the total field of all thought, which is memory. And thought creates other thoughts than self, including worries, fears, desires, stress, anxieties and depressions. Thought loves to carry problems, and this is legacy of the fact that each of us endured at least 12 years of scholastic education when the brain was encouraged to ever solve problems. Our life consequently becomes a problem. The negative states we can experience psychologically are not held within the thoughts we seek to end or get away from or suppress. The real pain, the real inner turmoil comes in how ineffectively we come to deal with such inner phenomenon. Thought is one movement. Thought is memory, a movement within the educated brain cells of humanity, a movement which follows religiously its ingrained, conditioned, patterned, educated, programmed approach to life. The brain finds security now in the continuity of a thinker, in an inward division of its total psychological movements of memory. But the thinker is made out of thought. Take away all thought, where will the thinker be found? Nowhere, because the thinker is a movement, a stream within the total inner nature of all of human consciousness, which is knowledge, which is memory, a division within a larger field. And so many of our inward difficulties limiting our inner and outer lives, our relationships, our peace of mind, and our peace of world is to be found in this divisive inner educated incessant groove. Our salvation lies in the understanding of this area. Thought gives birth to our actions. If our thinking is in chaos, and it is, our actions will be in equal chaos, and we build a chaotic society. Are we living in a chaotic society? The root is our thinking mind, divided as it is between thinker and thought. The thinker is the thought, but you must come to see this, not accept anyone's words. When the thinker is seen as the very same inner nature and movement as the thought, then any potential conflict between these two inward energies, which are truly one energy, divided by education, divided by traditional living, accepting the pattern which came before, never being encouraged to question, and so never arriving at any ground of intelligence for our lives, may come to an end. The root of all of our conflicts, inner and outer, argumentation to war, depressions and anxieties, is in the lack of understanding we all carry of our inner thinking natures. If you want to heal this world, you simply must begin begin on a journey of ending all inner conflicts within. If this is even possible, if you can find true peace in your life, free from inner conflicts and prejudices, free from inner anger and desires and pains and pleasures and ambitions and the seeking of success, free from all past hurts and future longings, if your mind can be completely silent and rest in its holistic understanding of its own understood inner nature, your life has already become the change this world needs to see.